For this annotation piece, you're going to look for two scholarly articles. You're going to look for one that is quantitative and one that is qualitative. You're going to use Academic Search Complete and you're going to use ProQuest. This is essentially how it should look. You're going to have a word count of 100 or so, give or take. You're going to make sure you use the journal article, APA style setup, last name, first initials, publication date, the title. Nothing is going to be capitalized except for the first word. A word that is a proper noun or noun phrase. That includes acronyms. And an item following a colon. The journal name is going to be italicized, as is the volume number. The issue number is going to be in parentheses. You'll have beginning and ending page numbers, and it's going to end with a DOI or a URL if the URL is not to a subscription database, but to something you can find. So these will be what you'll be working at. You'll have something that looks very similar to these pieces. For your final project, you only need 2 scholarly articles, so you'll just make a choice about which ones you want to take forward, much like you would with any research project. This is where you've seen this several times now. I have all the links that you should need to be able to complete your pieces. I explain your annotation here. I want to make sure when you talk about this in your 100 words, you talk about the research method used in the piece. The number of participants, how it was used, if it's qualitative, what type, if it's quantitative, what type, what kind of method, if it's mixed methods, how did they do that, and you have 100 words. And this moves you closer to your 150 to 300 for the final project, should you select one of these. Also, when you're talking about the content and what an article does, it helps you avoid issues with plagiarism because you're more naturally summarizing. When we go into Module 5, you'll be using evaluation criteria that will further help you break down these materials so that you're using your own words and you're doing so confidently you will be amazed. I'm really telling you the truth about this. Module 5 is awesome, and you will come out of it totally a better researcher and someone who looks at things in a different way. Because it's also awesome to question, but it's also awesome to feel confident that you have secured the best possible answer to your research. So I want you to use Academic Search Complete for one thing, and I want you to use ProQuest for another. This is the library page. You go to databases A to Z. That means these are alphabetic, if you remember from way back at the beginning. Academic Search Premier, has various names. We happen to have this version. My computer's a little slow. When you come over here, we're inside of a database. I'm going to be doing health literacy. As you can see, it gives me some other ways to look at it. And I'm going to do COVID. I'm just going to put that in because it's easy, but it does give me alternatives. And nothing else right now. I'm just going to go for full text, and I want scholarly and peer reviewed. And I want to find a quantitative method. And here we go. That's right. One of the things you could do is actually search quantitative when looking for something that has quantitative methods. Or, as you can see, there's only one answer. You may also want to look at focus groups, diaries, observational studies, and other things to find it. The other thing you need to make sure it is full text because you are not using an abstract for research. You need to find full text. So assuming this is okay, I will go into this and I will see some other subject terms that I could pick up and use. Here I have the PDF full text. I, again, urge you to use that, especially if you're in the sciences, because you'd like to see it as published and see all the charts. I have my authors, and I have all the pieces I need to do my APA citation, but look over here, and you probably know this, most of our databases do have a citation. Some of them are like really big quotation marks, but this is something you may not know. They're not right. They're hardly ever right. So oftentimes you'll end up in a class where you're told just to copy this and use it, but down the line that's not really going to work in your favor because it's not right. So what you need to do if you use this is just go through the list that we have connected to make sure it's right. So we have last name, first initials on the authors. We have an ampersand on the multiple author names. We have 2020 in parentheses period. We have video as public health, blah, blah, blah. The thing that goes wrong here mostly is the capitalization. The V is right. This is a proper noun phrase. The piece after the colon is absolutely correct. We go into, it's kind of off the side here, we have the journal name. It is italicized, as is the volume number. The 6 is the issue number in parentheses, comma, beginning and ending page numbers. And about the only thing that's wrong with this is it has the library's information. See this right here? This wouldn't be, if you take this out, you'll be left with nothing but a DOI. Also, when you look at the PDF full page, guess what you will have? Probably in here somewhere, as the page comes up eventually. And here it comes. Yes, you will have it here. So you could copy this one. This is a clean one. Now, it's very important you make sure this is a research article. I can see it has a methodology, principal findings, multiple pages. I know this is going to be fantastic for my piece. And I also know that it is as a mixed evaluation. So I would make sure I would let me, the person grading you, know that it is a quantitative or qualitative piece. It has a quantitative piece here and a qualitative component. I would make sure you have that in your summary so that I know which one this is and that you have both of them. And again, make sure you read the whole thing. When you go to the methodology, and that's one of the most important things I want you to look at here. I want you to look at the study design, what they were using, how they developed it, how many people were there, who they used, who they didn't use. Make sure in this particular assignment you focus on the methods and also the conclusions if you care to do so. So that is how we would find it here. Now, suppose you were here and you're like, oh, Rhonda, this really was a very bad database for me. And it can be for some topics. Not all topics are awesome. See this? It says choose databases. With Academic Search Premier and EBSCO, you can go look at the other things. So Academic Search Premier, I could use Health Source, that's academic. I could use psychology. I could use the professional development. If you're going into education, that's actually a really great one to go into. Click OK, and now I've gone from a few databases and I'm taking my thing into others, and I have other options to look at. So I may also look at that. But see, this isn't full text, so it's a reject, not full text here. So this might be the best thing I could do with that particular search. So that's Academic Search Premier. You can change it. Make sure, because you'll lose points, that you find full text. Now, the next thing you'll be looking at will be ProQuest. ProQuest starts with a P, and that's where we'll go on our database A to Z list. ProQuest. Now, this is luxurious, my friends. This is totally the Netflix of the ones that we have. So I'm going to go here, go health, literacy. It might give me some other ideas. I'm going to put COVID-19, and we'll throw another row in. And we'll talk about Boolean logic a little bit further in. So here I want to put qualitative. I'll use qualitative. But again, I can use things like diaries or focus groups or whatever things that particular thing uses. I made sure I selected full text, and I made sure I selected for peer reviewed. Again, I'll have a deep preference for things that have a PDF, and that's usually the thing I will look at first. Around the world, more packed than ever in a time of COVID. Let's look at it. PDF. So I'm looking to make sure it has multiple pages, a methodology. I'm going to need to use this piece, introduction, and this is a special issue. So this is a preview. And this is a thing. Not everything that says it's a scholarly, the best thing to do is tell you it's in a scholarly journal. This is not a scholarly article. It is a piece in there, and it tells you about things that are inside that issue, which may be awesome, but it's not going to work for this. Fake news, a quantitative thing. I am working on a qualitative, but it may be mixed methods, so you might want to go there and do it. e-health literacy, chronic patients, cross-sectional survey. Let's look at it. As methods. All right, so I'm pretty much in. I know this is going to fit. So when I go to do my annotation for this, I'm going to talk about what they used in this particular thing. How was this quantitative or qualitative? Who, oh yeah, definitely. Who was the sample size? Who was included or excluded? What was the data collection procedures and all the things that would be available on here. So when you're doing this piece, make sure one is quantitative, one is qualitative, one is an academic search Premier, one is from ProQuest. You can mix those up because some of these may be better for some of your topics than others. It absolutely has to be full text, and it absolutely has to be a research article that has the methods section, because I want you to go through those pieces and tell me how it represents its quantitative or qualitative design. And if you have any questions, as always, track me down.